Greetings and welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword with you. And I have a different sort of arrangement today. I wanted to pick out the best budget knives with the criteria being under 75 because some of these stretch up into the upper 60s, some hit around the $50 mark, and some as low as maybe 45. I have not checked the recent prices. Some of these knives go back a year, some are more recent. My second criteria is that I haven't reviewed them within the last couple of weeks, so I didn't want to put anything out there that has a recent review. There is one exception, which is the Begleiter 2 from Kizer. So we're going to accept that simply because for the price it is an amazing EDC knife and close to the top of this crop here. Anyway, top to bottom, and it has been suggested that I put links in the description of all these knives, and I'll attempt to do that. Links to buy I don't do all the time because I don't want to say you can only buy these from one source, and I don't have an affiliate program with Amazon or anything like that. So I'm not going to tell you where to buy them. I will tell you that White Mountain gives you 10% off if you're interested in that with my discount code Old Sword, all one word. So top to bottom today we have the Bestech FIN. We have the CJRB Talla. We have the Begleiter 2. We have the Gavial by QSP and the Penguin by Bestech. So again, I'll try to put that text into the review in case you want to look these up and get one for yourself. All right, let's do this. Let's pull them all out. And let's start with the Talla. Now the Talla by CJRB is, I would say, my favorite CJRB so far. By the way, all these knives have their own individual reviews, so if I don't cover enough, just go pull that up. Some of them come in my playlist for budget knives, some come in under their name brand. In this case, CJRB is an artisan affiliated company, or really it's artisan, but it's their budget line. One of the most awesome Wharncliffes out there, style-wise, and certainly useful. You got a go-forward position on the finger choil. You got a deep carry clip. Deep carry clip does have domed screws, but that clip is pretty high. The real problem that you could have getting this in and out of the pocket is this extremely aggressive milling on the handle. Your thumb doesn't go anywhere. Fingers don't go anywhere. I mean, this grabs you like a file. I think they've had one or two more out since this one with this sort of milling on the G10. Anyway, one of my favorite color G10s, it's a blue-gray. So if the color doesn't come across accurately on the video, it is a blue-gray or a gray-blue, whatever you want to call that. There is no jimping up here, but there's a very nice placement for the thumb, kind of a dish or a ramp. It locks into the hand with a great purchase on that. Got a lanyard hole, wide open back construction. And why do I like this? I like it for its style and its Wharncliffe usefulness. And the ergos are great. You will feel that bite a little into your hand, and some people may want to take a little light sandpaper and tone that down a little bit, but it's probably at least as aggressive as what you have on Emerson knives, if you're familiar with that. Pocket clip will switch to the left side. Got some pretty standoffs there, some barrel spacers. And the action is pretty good, although I haven't really tuned it. Comes out just fine. You may or may not like the concept of a drop shutty knife. Maybe in an EDC it's not so great, but if you're going to fidget with it, maybe that's what you want it to do. Got a very nice rounded flipper tab. There's no jimping on it. A little hole in the middle. And it is a sweet knife. The Talla by CJRB. If you like the Warncliffs for EDC, that's the way to go. Next up, Bestech Penguin. And ergos on this knife are great. It's a bigger knife. Talla was pretty good size as well. You can see in my hand I got plenty left over. And this knife, overall, we're talking 8.5 inches, thereabouts. And we're talking a blade. I'm not going to go through all the specs. Got a blade about 3 5/8, so like a 3.6 inch blade. Beautiful high grind. Nice jimping. Grabs you just right. Half open back. Got a spacer there with some jimping on it, and that jimping's fairly aggressive. Deep carry clip considerably. Do have the dome screw heads. I'm going to point that out where I can remember and where they exist. This is a dual tone G10. There's 3 models with different color G10. This is black and olive. Nice jimping on the liner lock. And this one's so smooth that it's just about completely drop shutting. Not too heavy, and again, it doesn't look like the ergos would be good. It's got that nice swell for your palm, got a finger choil there, and the rest of your fingers fit nicely into that curve. A little bit of a go forward here. You can sort of fit your finger in sideways, but at the very least it gives you a sharpening choil. And there's a nice swedge, and that's where you get kind of the penguin beak motif. So the Bestech Penguin, and this comes in, I think this comes, they're all under 75. This I think comes in around 65, 68, thereabouts. Prices change on these, so they're not going to hold constant if you see this review in a year. And then the lightest by far, and one of my all-time recent favorite EDC knives. And how a knife, I mean, these bearings are incredible. For a knife this light and relatively small, this is the Begleiter 2 by Kizer. It's really unique in that it's got carbon fiber handles, solid ones, but they've got the longitudinal grain to them like wood, rather than the individual little, end little faceted design you normally associate with carbon fiber, or crushed look or marbled look or what have you. Got a nice brass surround on that side. Got a T8, I believe, on that side. It's thumb studs only. Extremely fidget friendly. Blade is centered, dead center. Open back. Let's take a look at that. Yep. And I believe it is, yeah, it's weight relieved, skeletonized on the inside. Let me just give you the weight real quick. It's incredibly light. So we've got, 2.85 ounces, we'll call it. This is a highly recommended knife, and I think this came in, gosh, I think this came in the 60s. You can check it out, but again, well under 75. And the steel on this one is N690. So you get a little better quality steel than the D2. Nothing wrong with D2. Deep carry clip, almost completely deep carry. And yes, we've got recessed countersunk screws. I'll verify that. Yes, we do. Thing of beauty. The Begleiter 2 by Kizer. Nice utilitarian blade. I mean, easy EDC this guy all day long. I'm just really still impressed, and you can see my review on that. Here's an interesting one. The QSP Gavial. And Gavial is a crocodile-like reptile with an extremely long snout, even like more pointy than a crocodile. And it's a long pointy knife. It's got an overall length of 9 inches and a blade that's actually over 4 inches by just about 1/8 of an inch. So it's a big one, but it is nicely weight relieved, not too heavy. You can switch the clip. A little spacer there. We've got a lanyard hole. Got wide open construction with barrel spacers. Stainless liners. It's a D2 blade. Backtracking a little to the Penguin, that's a D2. Yep, that's a D2. And backtracking to the CJRB, this is going to be a D2 as well, in case I hadn't mentioned that. So trying to give you as much info as possible. Again, I'm not a store, and I don't sell, so I may skip over some things like, where to buy and so forth. But hey, the internet's a big place, and it's easy to Google just about anything. That's how I get a lot of my background and info on the knives. So I'll just Google, let's say this knife, for instance, QSP Gavial, and that's Gavial. And you should be able to pull up a sales link. I mean, it's as easy as that. And you may want to compare prices in one place and prices in another. So there you go. For a big knife, it is light. Ergos are very nice too. Helps to turn the scale on. Yeah, it's going to zero it with that on there. Let's try that again. Okay, so we got just under a 4.5 ounce knife. Feels quite light and lively, however. And it will open with the flipper tab, and it will open with the thumb hole, and it will, it should spidey flick. Usually I can spidey flick them before I can thumb flick them, but anyway, you can thumb flick it, and you loosen it up enough, you can probably spidey flick it. Really neat jimping. I like when they relieve this and give you jimping on the liner, makes it easy to close it. As I said, lanyard hole, and ergos are just great. Got some nice millwork there, give you a little extra grip. Got that dished out so you can put your thumb into the liner. Got a nice guard. And I love knives with palm swells, or really a swell for the finger. The back's fairly flat, but whatever kind of hand you got, it'll fit in there, I'm pretty sure. Got plenty left over there. So I'm really touting these all as great budget EDC knives across various manufacturers. We're coming back to Bestech again with one I'd done a recent review on, and I liked it so much I've got this in 3 different handle styles and blade styles. This is the FIN in 14C28N Sandvik steel by Bestech. It's a light, nicely weight relieved knife. deep carry clip. Unfortunately, dome screws. I mean, it doesn't negate it. That's a pretty high clip, so I haven't had a problem getting it in and out of the pocket, and the G10 is relatively smooth. In this case, we've got tricolor G10, which when contoured gives you that really cool pattern, and it's milled out in here. Nice pivot. Love the fuller. I mean, that just makes it, the blade is just, I'm not saying this is going to be the world's greatest EDC knife with a double grind on it. You know, that's not a sharpened top edge, of course. But, you know, it comes through reasonably sharp. And so yeah, you got really less than a half grind there, maybe closer to a third. So it's going to be a relatively steep flat grind. But it cuts pretty well. I mean, you can get the edge, you can tune it up to be what you want. It's got a go forward here finger choil, which is kind of neat. It's got all kinds of jimping on the frame and on the blade. Got jimping on the underside. Got a lanyard hole. I mean, got partial back spacer. Pretty much everything you can want from a knife, I think, for about, what are these, 55, 60, somewhere in there. White Mountain had a lot of these, so you can check them out. So that's one plug I will make for a seller. Just, I love the blade shape. I love the looks. I love the action. Practically drop shut. Very smooth on bearings. So, before we get too long-winded here, let's see if we can put everything back in. So that was the FIN by Bestech, the Begleiter 2, and that's a little different from the Begleiter series. And there's a lot of Begleiters all the way up to about 170 bucks. We've got the big old Gavial by QSP. We have the Penguin by Bestech. And we should be able to fit the Talla in by CJRB. So, some of my favorite budget EDC knives. Check them out. Make sure you like this video and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I am working on 1,000 subscribers, and once I hit 1,000 subscribers and a little over that, I am going to put out some information about a giveaway. So stay tuned. This Old Sword, signing out.